What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Leo's Nerd Talk, and today we're going to be going over Man of Steel. So let's get into that. Hi, my name is Leo, and if you guys like talking about the movie, TV show, video game later, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. And like I said, today we are talking about Man of Steel. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Just 2 more days, boys. 2 more days until James Gunn's Superman, and we are at the tail end of this review series. We got 2 more movies to go, or technically 1 more since I've already seen Man of Steel and you're seeing this review now. We only got 1 more movie to go, and we're going to be in the home stretch to go ahead and enjoy James Gunn Superman. Now, I was very excited to rewatch this movie. I haven't seen this movie since 2013, and back then I wasn't really that big of a Superman fan. I've always been kind of a Superman hater, just because I felt like a character that had so many powers wasn't really compelling enough until James Gunn announced that he was going to be making a brand new Superman in a brand new universe, and I desperately wanted this universe to do so well that I started to invest myself in the character, and I started to like the character so much more. And through this review series, I have found a brand new love for the Superman character, a character that I felt like was almost non-likable because of how powerful they are, became so compelling and such an interesting character to me. And I have grown to, again, just love this character way more than I ever expected to. But before I give you my pros and cons on Man of Steel, let me know what you guys think about this movie in the comment section down below. Let's hear your thoughts. I know this could be a very divisive movie in the Zack Snyder universe, or just between Zack Snyder fans and non-Zack Snyder fans as well. So I'll let you guys thoughts of what you guys think about Man of Steel down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into my pros. Now, starting with my pros, let's just start off with Henry Cavill. I think he is a fantastic Superman. Now, we'll get into Clark Kent a little bit later, but as a Superman, I think he is absolutely fantastic. I think he plays a role so well. He looks perfect for the part. He is so menacing. He has all the attributes that would make a great Superman character. So I very much enjoy his portrayal in this character as well. And the things that they make him do just make him so epic and awesome, and someone that you root for because of how just cool he is. You know, they just make his character so likable and cool and epic. And, you know, obviously because it is Henry Cavill. Must have been something you said. But beyond that, these sequences that they put him in, they're just absolutely amazing. Zack Snyder has such a very unique way in terms of stylizing his movies, the way he visualizes everything, the way his costume design is, the shot choices, the scenery, everything is so immaculately crafted. And Zack Snyder has a great mind for these types of visions. And I think he was a pretty great person to direct this movie. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure I am. You know, I'm sure someone that knows a lot more will correct me in the comment section down below. But if I remember correctly, someone wrote Man of Steel, and I think they presented it to Christopher Nolan because they wanted him to direct it, since he was doing the Dark Knight series at the time. And he loved the script so much, but he didn't want to direct it. So he handed it over to Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder agreed to it as long as Christopher Nolan was producing it. So Christopher Nolan still had a hand in this as well, but this is definitely, it feels like a Zack Snyder vision, and he feels like he definitely is the one in the driver's seat. And you can definitely see that throughout this entire movie, because visuals, I think, are absolutely amazing throughout, from beginning to end. This entire movie just looks immaculate, so epic, such great shot choices, and it just makes Superman just seem like this larger than life character, which he is. You know, to a certain extent in this movie, they make him out to be kind of like a god, you know, where you have the very interesting plot point that I like of what would it truly be like if someone like Superman was revealed to the world. And we get that throughout this entire movie. You know, you have Henry Cavill's character and his relationship with his father throughout this movie, that his father truly believes that the world is not ready for him to reveal himself as this all-powerful being, essentially. And through, you know, twisting of the wrist, he absolutely had to at this point. There was no other option, because people were going to die if he didn't. And it's such an interesting way to show this, of how would the human race truly react to a person that seemingly says they're a good person and they want to protect, but we don't know that. You know, this is the first time we've heard about this person, or this alien or superhero, whatever the case is. Everyone's going to have their different precautions, and they're going to be very weary of, do we trust this otherworldly being? And especially, do we trust them now in a very kind of tight circumstances where we have a threat that they are telling us that we do not hand this person over, they are going to destroy the earth or whatever the case they're going to do. So you have to trust in an alien being that you've never known that was on earth for 20 plus years at this point. And it's such a very, very interesting plot point. I think that is such a great way to do something new with the Superman franchise, because from the 70s to the last one with 2006, all of these movies portray Superman as being beloved and everybody just enjoying that he is a hero. But we never get into the kind of deeper meaning of this hero that we say is a hero is, while he's fighting, he's destroying buildings. There's casualties. He's bringing threats to the world because of his presence here on the world. And that is, again, just an interesting way to show the Superman character in the Zack Snyder universe. And this Superman movie is probably one of the darkest ones out of all of them. There's so much bleakness to it, even in the coloration of just Henry Cavill's suit. It is a lot more darker of a blue, a lot more darker of reds, because this is much more of a serious, bleak tone that has fantastical elements to it, because of course we have like General Zod and things like that coming to Earth and all these alien spaceships and huge explosions, stuff like that. There's still this fantastical nature to it, but it is so much more bleak and grounded and realistic to how people would react to such an otherworldly being on Earth. And speaking of General Zod, I think he does a fantastic job here as well. I believe Michael Shannon, I think, is the actor's name. I've always loved him as an actor. I've seen him in a couple of different things, and I thought he does great in mostly everything. And I think he does pretty great here too. He definitely feels like an actual threat. You know, we haven't seen a General Zod in live action. At least I haven't. I don't know sure if like in Smallville or anything like that they showed General Zod, but at least I haven't seen a General Zod in live action since Superman 2 from back in the 80s. And I think this is just such a much better portrayal. There's such a big looming threat, and the sequences you get between General Zod and Superman are so good. You know, there's moments here and there, which I'll talk to a little bit later, but the fight sequences and how menacing General Zod is, and the damage he does to Metropolis. Like, there's explosions, buildings collapsing left and right. Like, I'm surprised there's any single building left after General Zod's invasion in Metropolis, because they just destroy absolutely everything. And you just get how big of a scope a character like this in this universe can get, and how much damage they can do in just a single day with one conflict. And again, that adds to the, do we trust this otherworldly being? And again, it's just such a great way to show this character. And I've been kind of speaking on it throughout this entire time I've been talking, right? Is just the action. I think it's done very well. There's definitely moments where you can definitely see the CGI in it, but again, just like I talked about in Superman Returns, I don't think it ever took me out of it. I never went like, oh, look at all that CGI, that's a little too much. I never felt that way. I thought the action was just absolutely amazing. Such great sequences. Again, the shot choices, the visuals, the score that's right behind it to enhance all that action, I think is done very well. And I very much enjoy all the portrayals here, you know, all the different side characters as well. Like Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, I thought did fantastic. You have like Russell Crowe as Superman's dad, who I thought did a pretty good job as well. So everybody involved, I think it's a great cast, great group of characters. You definitely feel a lot of the chemistry. There's still some leering issues, again, that we'll talk about, but for the most part, I think from start to finish, this is just a pure, entertaining, great Superman film. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into my cons, and I'm gonna piggyback off of the characters that I just mentioned, because we have Amy Adams as Lois Lane. And not that I don't like the character, I think as a Lois Lane character, I think she does a pretty good job, but I have some issues with her character as well, where she is just a news reporter, or not a news reporter, but she's a writer for a newspaper firm. And I just find it so odd, and it throws me off that she has so much security clearance for whatever reason. Like, we have this whole military operation of them finding this spaceship in the middle of an iceberg, and she's just allowed to walk around and interview people and see like top secret evidence so that she can write for her paper back in Metropolis. Like, that just seems so far-fetched, and I have to kind of suspends my belief that she would be allowed to into these very highly secretive, restricted areas where we don't really want the general public to know about. That just seems very weird. And then you have, of course, like when they eventually see Superman, they just allow her to be around him at all times. She's like the only one that can communicate with him because he for whatever reason trusts her out of nowhere. But for meeting like one time, I never thought their connection was really that great between Lois Lane and Superman. Again, it feels like they met one time and then all of a sudden they're supposedly in love with each other. I never got that. Like I never felt the actual chemistry between them where you would think they could actually be more than just passing partners at that point. You know, in this movie, we don't get the Clark Kent that works at the Daily Planet. You don't get that usual kind of relationship of Clark Kent with Lois Lane at work. I would have much rather seen the relationship kind of get a little bit closer in once we get to Batman versus Superman, where he eventually does start working at the Daily Planet. You know, I think the relationship in this movie just felt very, very rushed, and I just didn't feel the chemistry there. While I still enjoyed Amy Adams as Lois Lane in general, just the connection between her and Henry Cavill and their relationship just didn't feel natural. And while there is plenty good to this movie, there is a lot of obvious flaws to the film, especially when it comes to like dialogue. There's a lot of lines that just seem very like default line delivery, and it's just so choppy and emotionless when it comes to a lot of the line delivery, where it just stands out because there's no real like umph to it. And again, just the line delivery all around this movie, the line choices, the writing sometimes just falls flat on its face. It just doesn't feel impactful for such a big movie like this, where especially when someone like Christopher Nolan is backing it, it felt like there was a lot of dialogue and writing that just kind of got underneath the radar and wasn't caught to make better and feel like it was more impactful when the line was being delivered. And it just felt just very bland at a lot of moments throughout this movie. And lastly, I think I wish we got a lot more of the Clark Kent character. You know, for most of these movies, the Clark Kent character is supposed to feel very hopeful and goofy and kind of silly. And while in this movie, we don't really get much of that, it's understandable because until the ending of this movie, we don't really see Superman hiding his identity, so he doesn't have to really change his demeanor per se. But I do wish we got a little bit more of that in this movie, so we can see both sides of the character and not just like the brooding force that is Superman. So I wish we have a little bit more of him trying to hide his identity. But again, it's understandable because he doesn't really reveal himself as Superman until way later on in the movie, so there's no reason for him to switch up how he is. But I just do wish we got more of that Clark Kent side of him. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. I still absolutely enjoyed this movie. Definitely one of the better Superman films. I think Zack Snyder did an amazing job with this film, with the slight small issues that I have with it here and there. But let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below. Love to hear your guys' thoughts about this movie. Like I said earlier, I know this could be a very divisive film. This is a very divisive universe between Zack Snyder fans and non-Zack Snyder fans. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. But again, if you guys like talking about movie, TV show, video related, or just anything nerdy, you are in the right place. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you.